Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to an unanticipated installment. We're taking it back, but not way back. Stream of consciousness. This is the 5th episode. SOC, SBAS, Sucks Boss. Stream of consciousness series. Build a Sheila, in which we built Sheila. Sheila is the pinkest FMS FJ40 you will likely ever see. Sheila, if you're one of those select choice few that watched the most recent episode of Wheelin' Wednesday, oh right, if you're a member who watched the most recent episode, you would know that this guy right here, this little rope, this little DSM little recovery guy that was added to my A-main cart several years ago because I needed to make the dollar amount to get free shipping. This has been on Bruce's front bumper for some time now, and it was the MVP of the recent members installment because... Let's pop the toolbox off. Well, we learned one thing. The toolbox, which carries a bunch of drivetrain bits in it, is nevertheless incomplete. We have a full drive shaft, inner, outer. We have major pieces because Bruce carries what we thought at the time to be all the tools. We can do a little parlor trick here. And it goes like this. Let me see if I can orient it so you can see it. So if you're looking right down there, now, should be, we can go 1.3 Envoy MVP because no 1.3. Did not have a 1.3. I'm guessing then that we did indeed break it. Yes. That, I'm pretty sure, used to be a pin. And that pin is gone now. Well, regardless, we arrived at a location / destination that, oh, we got a 10 Pro. We got 10 Pro barfed up its guts over here. We've arrived at a location where that I call corrosion of confidence. We had to flat tow Sheila here because we got stuck in the forest. Because, as I've said, everyone should have one of these. But the drivetrain lacks a little bit of robustness. And in continuation of that feeling, we have a whole bucket of parts that need to go on Sheila. She has front inner fenders. She's got a number of things that need to be installed. Like, this is appreciably smooth. It could be quieter. Small update for those who were somewhat following the installation of the inexpensive. So there was a kit. You can probably still find it on AliExpress. It was available on Amazon for a very short period of time. You got these two drive shafts. You got the rear inners, and you got the front universals. And the front universals are doing great. They have no sort of visible wear on them. You can see where the slider goes in. There's a little bit of rust. These are definitely not stainless. I had hoped, but it doesn't, it doesn't kill me that they're not. So, we're in the realm called corrosion of confidence. And that corrosion of confidence is brought about by the fact that the entirety of the powertrain is dependent on this screw right here. And unless you take with you an array of tools that I think, to be completely honest, I think most people would not anticipate needing. I mean, we're going to have that tool now. We're going to have every tool we need. I'm going to check I'm going to check every fastener. We did, learning from the Bruce experience. This is another in the line of the Bruce mods to the FJ40, which is just rounded one out. Awesome. Day just got really long. Just rounded another one out. The day just got really long. We had swapped out shorter versions of these button heads for it was probably M2.5 by 12s. Those will be replaced yet again with M2.5 by 12s, but socket caps, because these are all stripping out. I need to get the body off. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I will be back in a moment when it is removed. So I just gave up on getting the body apart. I needed to take the roof off to do some stuff inside the body, but we need to address the more pressing stuff more pressingly. Corrosion of confidence, right? We have that little pin that goes right through here because of the way the slipper clutch goes. I don't know if I can line it up to where you can see through the hole. There you go. It's really reduced down, and at some point that thing had snapped and there remained just enough of a shoulder on it to go through and drive it. It's too small. It's too small. So I don't know, as I stand here right now, I don't know what we're going to do. I wonder if this is the same type of pin. Yes. So basically, the entire drivetrain is reliant on that. I could just keep some extras, but in that corrosion of confidence, now, well, it broke once, and it's probably going to break again, because think about the size of the vehicle, roughly 1/7 scale. Sheila coming in currently at about 10 pounds, but with big treps on silicone inserts with the Dash RC wheels. These are 350 grams a piece, 1,400 grams of wheel and tire to help offset the 16, 17, 1,800 grams of the body without anything added to it. With the driver in there with the box on the roof, we're getting into 2 kilo territory. So we need to do something. I don't know just yet what that something is. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the gearbox, which I do not like. We wanted to run it for at least a while to see what kind of durability and or problems we get out of it, and I can tell you exactly what kind of durability and or problems we get out of it. It's that the way the slipper is attached, it was making a clunky, chunky noise for a little while. We've already got a little bit of widening right there on the drive shaft, and we're definitely putting guts out. But that's to be expected. I mean, these the in-house FJ40s, they undergo some stuff. We got the little dog bone / CVD shaft. It will not be opposed to getting rid of that. It's still pretty smooth. I can feel the sand that's gotten in it. You can definitely see what has occurred on and around the transfer case. So here's what I'm thinking, loosely, as we begin. What I'm thinking is this. I've got another one. We are going to find a truss. We're going to find a front assembly. Yes. As long as it's got leaf mounts on it. Oh, well, you know. See, I don't have any real worry about cutting anything up. That's why we keep this stuff. I believe this was hers, so we'll remove that. All we need to leave here, here's what I'm thinking. Follow along with me. I think we need, because we need to leave this stuff and we need to leave the servo mount unless I want to completely refabricate a front mount, and I really don't want to remake this. It's got the leaf mount on it and everything. So from this part right here, all the way back, this stuff on the sides, we need to cut that thing all the way down, much like we have to do to install the GCM LRT2. If the GCM, I'm going to type GCM. If the GCM LRT2 was still readily available, and last time I checked, it was not. It just, one price, it comes up and it says your cost. GCM Racing says your price $199, and there's no place to buy it. If we go to the Canadian web store, this is our Universal Fit Kit, which does not include the mounts for the thing. So you know what we're going to do? I'm not in a hurry right now to buy a $295 Canadian gearbox. Instead, which when you put in an LRT2, you have to cut all of this stuff out anyway. So this means we're building a firewall, we're building a battery tray, much like we've done in an FJ40 before. Look what's going on here. Let's see if it's just mud. Yeah. We're gonna pull apart. We're definitely pulling those shocks off. Look at that guy. Ugh. We will throw Desert Lizard seals in these. We will rebuild them with the fresh bottle of 3000 that we've got here, 3000 CST. I know, it sounds like a lot. It really isn't. 80 weight is 1000 CST. So it's gonna, did I get that right? 80 weight is 1000 CST? Depending on who you believe, 80 weight is 1000 CST. So that will put us around 240 weight oil, which is not excessive when you consider what's on here. 80 weight would be far too quick. This one is fully blown. It doesn't really feel like there's anything left in there. The leaves in the rear have started to flatten out. I don't know if we need to add a leaf to the pack, but what I do know is before we pull all that out, we're going to take this, we're going to use a variety of tools, and we're going to cut the whole inside part of it up. And then we're going to figure out some sort of gearbox to fit in this thing. I don't know what it's going to be. We have all of this room under the hood. I mean, is it outside the realm of possibility to dangle a gearbox? All I need, that gearbox has got to be sealed, right? It has to give us a place to put the motor. The T-case is flippable. We can flip it around depending on where the output is. We're gonna get parts together. What's in here? 1200 or 1800? 1800. We're gonna, this thing's falling apart. We're gonna get this put together, and it's gonna be in a gearbox that I trust more, because I don't, every time I think I've planned for a contingency, surprise, new contingency. So we're going to end up probably dropping the axles just to clean them, just to get them fully cleaned. We'll get this thing cleaned up. I want to address the front bumper. I want to get the fenders installed. Let me obtain the Box O FJ40. We've got to cut those fenders to accommodate the shock towers. I would like to try to get, there's so much. There's too, you know what there is? There's too much. So, in place of that, we're going to get this is engine compartment We're going to get this gearbox taken care of. We're going to get this carved out. We're going to get it cleaned up, put back together. If I have to change the T-case, I will. If we run a front motor mount to a regular transfer case, but I don't want 30%. Okay, I'm going to take, in place of shower thoughts, I'm going to have some bandsaw and sander thoughts as we carve this front mount up. Need to take these off. Okay, I know where to stop cutting. We're going to get this cut up. Okay. And in just a blink. All right, I had some sawing, and I had some sawing thoughts. Get that all taken out in the middle, lift the back behind there. I think it's going to be plenty of room, I think. I have an idea of what gearbox I want to put in, and I needed to pop in here for a moment. I'm not going to go through the whole, here's all I'll share with you for the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We need to take out about between 30 and 35 screws. Remove this assembly, put this assembly in its place, clean this up a little bit, probably pull the T-case out while we're at it, clean this thing up a little bit. I can actually pull the shocks because it's leaf springs and nothing's going to fall apart. But I just wanted you to see this little cleaned up guy. Bandsaw and the sander, a little bit of Dremel to get like up into the edges, and we should fit just right. I think I have the gearbox. So what I can tell you is this. This is going to be work. We're building from scratch. We're going to have to build the entire front motor bracket from scratch to mount the motor. However we decide on that, which we haven't figured out yet. But here's a thing that I do know. 'Tis better to have too much gear reduction. So this is the gear out of this guy, the transfer case, which would be perfectly acceptable, except for whatever reason they put 2mm holes. This is this is an old MST transfer case. Now, it does not have as much gear reduction, as you can tell. This one's much bigger on this side. This is only 1.3 internal. I feel like the stock gearbox, which is dumped here in a little bin, I feel like this guy, I mean, if that's basically a reducer. That's just a planetary reducer would have more reduction than this. I figured this is somewhere in around this, like, 3-to-1 ratio. We're probably about the same here. And then we get another 2.8, 3.3, something like that. I don't know the exact tooth count on these. I'm just basing it off of 1134, much like a TRX4, that 2.9 to 1-ish neighborhood. So that would get us that around 30-to-1 final. Not kind of as low as I would like to be. Any other option we go to is going to give us significantly more gear reduction. So I want something that can, and also 2mm, so we're slaved to those tiny shafts, which will just get us, the tiny screw pins, which will get us in trouble again. There's there's one way to get away from the tiny screw pin, which is 2.5mm carbide bits, and drill the pinions out to fit 2.5. Also, if you're running in water at all frequently, the rust is superficial. It doesn't impede its action anyway. But if you're running in water regularly with these, well, with any drive shaft, let's be honest, keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. I don't know if these are going to go back on, because do they fit a pin other than the reduced pin? I don't think they do. Now, these would be easy to drill out. They're not hardened. Yeah, they're built for these tiny pins. But I can drill those out 2.5mm, no problem. I'm just going to put a conventional Traxxas style pin in it, which is going to be significantly more robust. So these shafts aren't bad. They're just built for something that we're trying to move a little bit away from. I hope that you can discern that we have a very clean front end and a very dirty rear end, because I haven't gotten back here yet. There's nothing left. Dry. So why was she so loud? There you go. The front is absolutely crammed up with Yamalube. Still, they're not helical, so they are certainly not the ring and pinion interface looks fine. That's just, and I filled that pumpkin. I don't want to have to get in there again anytime soon. It's much quieter, but it ain't exactly whispering. So, digging through the bins, we've got the MST transfer case. This one's only a 1.33 reduction in there. I don't know what this guy is. They don't mention. I'm assuming in that 2.3, 2.4, they're basically treating this like a gearbox. So there's that little maybe 5-to-1, 6-to-1 out of, well, depending on the spur and pinion. No, I'm going to say between 3 and 4-to-1. That's fairly typical. Then going to about a 2, so that gets us about a 7. 14, we're sub 40-to-1. I would like at least 40-to-1, and I have been able to do some math on stuff, which is, found this little transfer case in there. It has not been rebuilt. It has not been greased. Hasn't been anything like that. I like how it's just perfectly straight in line, because these two axles are perfectly straight in line. We arrive at the problem that is FMS. I mean, it's understandable. The vehicle is big. So we've got 85 millimeters rail to rail. This is a much more typical 72 millimeters. That's pretty much the normal. That's a fairly normal spacing. 72 to 76. 68 to 76, let's say, is what we'll see. So there's that guy. And here's this guy. So that's better than if they were like that. That would be bad, because then we got to try to shim it out. This, I can just build adapters. And because I'm building adapters, we can drop the T-case down to where the little dome. So instead of being a flat belly, I'm thinking of mounting it so the little dome is right about there. Because just that little bit of additional drop, I think, is going to improve the pinion angle or the drive shaft angle a little bit. I mean, optimally, you'd want to, for drive shaft angle, you would want to full trail finder it and drop this thing way down here. Then we'd be looking at some good drive shaft angles, but then you're going to be hanging that thing up on everything. So we're going to put it to where the bottoms of them are, basically, with that. And how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to do it with Delrin. We're going to do it with Delrin, because that's what we do. And then Delrin and aluminum are going to combine forces to mount the gearbox, which I believe I have selected. Same exact situation. 85 millimeters, but that's inside rail to inside rail. Then with the shim here, we have just, with a little bit of trimming and filing, 3 millimeter plates on either side of this would have dropped that right in like that. It actually kind of mocked up really clean. This drive shaft, we can't get it quite, but it would just be a tiny little bit of an angle. Doesn't look like it would strike the motor. But for one of these, I would prefer not to have the spur and pinion just out in the open. Like, you see how much sand and grit's already in there. This is an instance where we kind of want it closed up. So, and 10 tooth on here, 5.6 times 2.9. I was going to try to judge it times 2 point. Did I say? Hold on. It's 1739. 2.3. 2.3 times 5.6 12.88 times, what do we say, 2.9 at the axle? That's 38 to 1. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's not a huge amount of mechanical advantage. I would probably swap out the 1800 for a 1200 in that event, because sub 41, I'd like to see around 40 to 1. So we dig through the drawer of gearboxes and we find the weird planetary box from the MST CFXW, the one that this guy came out of, right? And then we can do a little additive math, because it might have been around here for a minute, but you know, we still got the manual. So also, you need to see into the manual. There's the gear inside the box. There's the spur gear. The solitary drawback to this gearbox, in my opinion, other than the weird, it mounts the motor a little high. The two-pronged oddity is it's mod 6. I've got mod 6 pinions, that's fine. It's got a slipper, excellent. The slipper is adjustable from the outside of the gearbox, most excellent. I'm on board with that. It is a deceleration gear assembly. It's got full planetary gears on the inside. I don't know what the advantage of that is. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know what the advantage of that is. What I do know the advantage is right about here. It's got a full slipper, 62 tooth spur. Yes, please. 62 tooth mod 6. Close enough to 48 pitch, but not close enough to use them together. We can use a pinion anyway from a 17 to a 25. And a 17 would get us 53 to 1, but that is based on a 1.3 reduction. There's a 24 and a 32 in here. 1.33 reduction T-case. We're going to a 2.3 T-case. So we can do 17 to 25 in mod 6. I have most of these guided down here. I have like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And don't think that I won't. I only have 2 screws holding the plate, and pop those out, hit the Dremel on that so we can drop the motor down a little bit more. We're already going to have to grind some off of the shaft on the Fusion in order to get... No, we won't. It'll fit. Rescinded. So it's and here, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That planetary is going to be... This is kind of like breaking a Stealth XF into pieces and doing it in a crazier way. When this is done, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. There's 11 gears in this gearbox. I'm not as concerned about it as I am with this, which has 1, 2, 3, 4 gears in it. Because also they use some real microscopic bearings in this thing. So the goal, here's the goal. Here's the goal. So we can't even get down to 36 to 1 on the 25 because we're running a 2.3 transfer case instead of a 1.3. So 1800 is going to be fine. And we're going to be probably somewhere in the middle. 20, 21 tooth pinion. Excellent. 2162 sounds absolutely fantastic to me. We're absolutely going to fill this thing with Yamalube. We're going to Yamalube the axles. We're going to Yamalube everything that looks even remotely sealed. What I'm going to have to do, it has a bracket, again, the 72 millimeter spacing, and designed for another chassis. So if we kind of line it up in here, I could probably, and don't think I didn't think about it, but I don't like how high it sits. I could drill through straight there, have it drill through that bracket, drill 2 more holes in the rails, bish, bosh, bolt the thing on. But it puts that motor real high. Like, you might say, what difference does it make? Well, fair, but I need to fit a battery under here. I need to fit a battery under here. So, you know what? Before we go any further, that fits almost tight enough to stay right there. When you wheeled the chassis around with nothing on it, you realize how much of the weight of this vehicle is the body. Can't see. We need to line it up so that we know that we're centered. Come on. Come on. There's two little holes in the front we're trying to drop into. Maybe easier to go upside down. We need to dry fit. That's all we need to do. We're just trying to dry fit here. She's fighting me. Okay. Well, I had to loosen up a bunch of the screws in the middle in order to get the T-case mount out. There we go. That popped in nicely. So now, if we pull that up, that is the mount right there. And then this would go right here. You know what? I don't have enough hands. I don't have enough hands. Okay, I am now officially rethinking it mounts it too high. It's just above the servo. There's still likely plenty of room to get a battery under there. See, this is the thing. The laziness, it tries to put, and look how perfect. This is the setup if you've got your battery elsewhere and you want to run one of those scale engines. MST CFXW gearbox and an FJ40, not too much modification to get that stock mount in there, to be honest. Extend those screws, nuts on the inside, it would be perfectly solid. That thing would be rigidly mounted in there. It would not be the most fun to try to get the gearbox in and out. I mean, it's not going to be the most fun to try to get it out when we're done with it anyway, but help me out here. I want this gearbox to where the motor is basically parallel, is even with the top of the servo, just like that. That's all I want. I want it 15 millimeters lower. Because if we go 15 millimeters lower, I can effectively plate. I can run a plate after the fenders go in, because don't forget, we have to cut those. Here are the fenders, and they have to be cut to accommodate the shock towers. Once those are cut, we can put a plate right across the top, and then battery, electronics, and have it to where that we can lift that plate out, and then there's the motor and everything under. So it's gonna be a little bit. I'm thinking flat plate aluminum. I'll just cut 2 plates, and then I will probably softly super glue them into place on the inside of here, and then take a drill or a pencil and make marks so that we can drill and tap those plates, so that like all of these screws will be attached into those plates. We'll cut them to whatever size we need after, but I'm going to go with like a 2x4-ish, probably about a 90 millimeter, 85 by 50 or so, 2 big aluminum plates, and they should have the exact same holes on both sides, hopefully. And then we can get out the Delrin, and we will detach this, because I don't know. Maybe we won't detach this. We will detach this because it's too wide. We're going to take another 6 millimeters off of that, and it is currently right at 70 millimeters. So it's going to be like 64. So we're going to have to build our own version of this out of Delrin. And I think I know how I'm going to do it. I think I'm basically going to do the yoke like they do, like this, so it'll mount to those exact 4 holes. It'll be very easy to replicate those 4 holes. And I'm just going to have my holes vertical, so it'll mount kind of more like this one. Because we want the gearbox right about there. So we're going to get that guy in right there. And you can see all the mounting holes are basically below the level of the chassis. We will mock it because I want to make sure. Actually, we do have to go a little bit above. We do have to go a little bit above. Keep the drive shaft. We got to watch the drive shaft. This is why you brainstorm by yourself or with others and don't just start cutting pieces. It is kind of a junior dream to be able to mount this. You know, I don't think I can get this as low as I want it. I think I can realistically only get it to about... I can only get it to about there. Where's that T-case? Oh, it's perfect. Dang it. It's like perfectly in line. Dang it. So yeah, we're going to have to do... You can do it now or you can do it right. And there's no real way to mount that off of that plastic bracket. Or is there? No, we need to move it down too much. We need to move it down about 12 millimeters, half an inch. And y'all know me, man. I will go to whatever lengths I feel like I can to if the part exists, use that part. This part does not exist. I've got to cut a bunch of Delrin. I've got to cut a bunch of aluminum. The sound of the chime is not related, but it does remind me that my wife goes, "You should try breaking these up into smaller pieces," to which I say, "Ma'am, you're too right." Oh, I will give you a parting note before we end this, the installment 5. Installment 6, I will probably have done some of the fabrication, because the part that what I just mentioned now, probably 5 hours of work to get that stuff together. This is going to be a multi-day one. Then we get to figure out drive shafts again. Then we need to clean the rear. This is 12 hours billable labor all in to get this put back together. I also, if not replace the front bumper, at the absolute very least, put shackles on it. It needs shackles on it. Because, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I used shackles. I had an actual need for shackles on a tiny car. I'd like to show you something. I think there's a small and sometimes vocal minority, and sometimes they just speak with the dislike button, because I pile a lot of trash on top of things like axial shocks. And I think some people are like, harumph, harumph. This vehicle, what you see right here, completed its build series roughly 6 weeks prior to when this recording is taking place right now. These 10 Pro shocks were fresh built for this vehicle and have been driven, I want to say, 4 times. So that's not water. That's That's, I think I filled these with 80 weight. That's 80 weight is what that is. Let me see. Oh, they feel awful. They feel like they're full of gravel. So 4 hours of operation. They don't hold oil. What are they, though? They are the absolute perfect length. I have 8 of them. 4 of them are on Bruce, and they likely look worse than these do. So I'm just not going to run them on anything else. Let us see, just to satisfy my own curiosity in the moment, how much oil is gone. This one doesn't look too bad. Oh, wait, never mind. Huge air bubbles down there. Oh, God. So, there was a big air bubble under the piston, presumably because they were mounted upside down. I'm still knocking the air bubbles out. That oil level is down. Well, you can't even see oil. It's there. So that's between 30 and 40% of the oil is out of this shock in about 4 hours of trailing. And you can tell where most of it comes out. This is definitely a seals issue. So, I would also like somewhere in this building. What the hell was that? Somewhere in this building, there are some shock bladders. The like scale. And that's just like, it's just spewing. I am genuinely going to consider ignoring the bleed hole. Bleed hole, please. Ignoring the bleed hole, slightly underfilling, and putting this stuff, putting True Blue, which is Teflon paste with blue thread lock in it, vibration resistant, putting that on the caps. Because, it's putting the insides on the outside. We're going to fully rebuild those with the aforementioned bottle of 3000. Going straight to the 3000. I knew that this was going to be a significant amount of work, but it needs to be more dependable than it is in this configuration. If you don't, I mean, it's almost 10 pounds out of the box. I feel like this stuff can't really handle it that well. I think in stock configuration, it's probably genuinely fine. But if you've been here, you know we're not here about stock configuration. So come back for the next one. We will get something done. I'm sitting here thinking about cutting the metal and everything, and I'm going, oi. But it's got to be done. It's got to be done. And now in the future, you know, if we ever accidentally build another there's 3 FJ40s here. We're not building another FJ40. If we were ever accidentally building an FJ40, we would know even more. Like we knew to do the shock mod right away. Now we know a full drivetrain swap, and then I can taste the inevitability in the air of some other axle ending up under this. Do you even give it a year? I don't even know if I give it a year. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us for this, which might have felt to some like a year. We'll see you in the next one. Consider channel membership. I'm supposed to say that because the algorithm is always listening. That computer that they claim they don't have is always listening. So, we'll see you in the next one. In between now and when we meet again, please one and all, do your very best. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon real soon. I look across that with which I hath wrought, and I'm like, oi, get ready to fabricate all the brackets to hold in a drivetrain and fix those fenders and rebuild all those shocks. Oi! I'll see you in the next one.